everyone. Welcome back to the 98 podcast. I'm your host, Kiran, and today I'm joined by Darla and Amber. We're going to be talking about our process for applying to higher education. Darla will be going to law school, me and Amber will be going to grad school, and we're going to tell you about that whole thing. For context, Darla and I went to the University of San Francisco. We graduated last May in 2020. She has a degree in environmental studies, and I have one in marketing and design. And Amber graduated last May as well from CSU East Bay with a degree in early childhood education. For more information on these ladies and their undergraduate degrees, check out their respective episodes linked in the description. For more information on them and our topic, check us out on Instagram at 98.podcast. Check out our website or LinkedIn, connect with them professionally. But, anyways, welcome to the show, Darla and Amber.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello. So before we begin, disclaimer, everything we're sharing here is based off of our experiences. We are here to give you an honest response to today's topic. So let's get started. First off, congrats on getting into law school, Darla. Congrats on getting into grad school, Amber.
Congrats, Kiran.
Oh. Oh my gosh, it's been an interesting process. So I want to start by asking you, why did you guys decide to pursue higher education? Like even further? Whoever wants to start. Darla, do you want to go first?
Sure. I think for a long time, law school was sort of a predestined future for me. I think my mom really wanted me to become a lawyer for a very long time in my life. So that was something that I, as a teenager, I was like, I'm not going to do it just because you want me to do it. So it didn't actually click until probably sophomore year of college. So that's when I started, actually becoming interested in my own studies and how I wanted to see my future just go about. So I took like environmental justice classes at USF. I did, independent studies, learned more about kind of the legal system and how the environment both connect in that sense. So in that way, that's what led me to environmental law and wanting to pursue the legal field. I think there's a lot of potential, especially right now, in hopefully creating a change and just seeing something actually happen.
Yeah, definitely. So wait, where are you going? Like what school is it and where is it? How long is it? And what are you is there like a specific environmental program at the school?
Yeah, so it's a Vermont law school. So Vermont is very environmental based. So it's the school is number 4 in the environmental law education. So it's pretty high up there for the environmental law program. So it is focused a lot in environmental law in that field. I think I'll be doing environmental law, and they do have a joint master's program. So I can do my master's in restorative justice while I'm pursuing the JD degree.
Nice. Wait, so how long is your program then?
So it's still 3 years, but the master's goes in between those years, so the summers.
Oh, got you. Ooh, interesting. Noise. Amber, how about you?
I felt like I started pursuing higher education, a master's per se, because I felt like my dad has always told me, all right, I need you to get a doctorate. So I need you to push yourself a little further, because now a bachelor's is starting to be equivalent to a GED.
Yeah.
So I've really been pushing myself. I wanted to take a year off, and I actually did, because the program I wanted doesn't start until this fall. But even my dad was like, Amber, don't take a year off. Just keep going. And you know what? I actually ended up enrolling in some community college classes, just because like I really love to learn. and I really love to educate myself. And I'll be honest, I feel like whatever I got my bachelor's degree in, I've probably said this a million times, but it didn't cover what I expected it to cover. So now that I'm actually in the field and doing what I need to do, um, I notice like I really need some more like support class wise. So I'm really eager to start this master's program.
Yeah. And so where are you studying and how long is it? Where is it? All that fun stuff.
So I decided to stay at my school. I graduated from CSU East Bay. I was really considering going out of state. It's always been a dream of mine to maybe attend college in Florida because that's where my dad lives. Um, but I was looking at their requirements, and they put that you need letters of recommendations and all of that on their website. So that really intimidated me. And I looked at colleges in California, like Long Beach. Like I wanted to maybe go somewhere for like a different change of pace. But then I was looking at the requirements for other master's programs, and I was like, I don't know how the work I took will like translate over, because each school has their own like coding of like classes, and so I just decided to stay at East Bay. I mean, their program seemed really nice. So I'm hoping it's a good program, because so far I haven't been getting I'm super excited, but I haven't been like getting enough information, I guess, after I got accepted. So
Me too.
it's weird.
I know, honestly. Okay, so I got into I'm going back to USF for grad school. I'm doing a master's in marketing intelligence. And like, I mean, okay, so same thing with Amber. The reason, well, okay, going back, similar to both of you, my parents were pushing for higher education, but I also really, really like higher education. Like, I want to get a PhD and go into teaching, like at a college level. So that was my thing. And I was like, okay, well, let me just go back and do marketing again, but this time focus more on like the modern day of marketing. Cause I realized too, USF didn't really prepare me in marketing for this real world situation. Like I never took any digital classes or anything like that. And so it was just like the fun side of marketing. And now this program is going to be the STEM side. And so I'm excited to go deeper into it. But yeah, so I'll be at USF. It's only 11 months. So I'll be kind of like in and out, which is kind of nice because I want to do a PhD. And I was just like scared about like how long it's going to take to go from master's to PhD to whatever. But yeah, no, my parents were always, they didn't want me to take a year off either, but Corona was like, psych, you're gonna take a year off. Plus, this program is super new. Like, I think this is gonna be the second class of people that they're letting into this. So I'm excited. I've heard good things about it, but I'm also a little stressed because I also haven't gotten much information since getting accepted. I'm just like, so what's going on? Because I need to figure out my money.
Exactly.
So I don't know, Darla, did you have a similar situation? Like, are they giving you communication?
No, but yes. I got my financial aid package. It's terrifying. So I've had a bit of a chance to kind of budget my next 3 years. It's not looking great. Loans are not looking great. Debt's looking really, really high up there. But they've been a little bit more communicative than what your two schools seem to be doing.
I know. I feel like for USF, they are still accepting because it's rolling admission until the program, right? I think that's something about grad school I didn't know about. I was like, oh my God, I missed the deadline. And then they're like, nah, that was just a soft deadline. So I didn't know any of that. And then I think because I tried to join like a meeting that they were having about the program, like for information. And I thought, okay, it's because like we got accepted. We're going to have info session, right? But no, it was still about convincing people to apply. And I was just like, can you have one for people who got in? Because I just knowing USF for over 4 years now, I know they're going to do it like the month before. They're going to be like, haha, here's the information, figure it out. And then I'm going to be like, oh my God, what do I do? Right. So I'm going to contact them, especially because it's a marketing program. I already know half of the teachers. So I feel like I can probably reach out and just be like, so what's the plan? But I don't know if that's how it's gonna work for you guys. I don't know if but wait, so Darla, are you gonna move to Vermont if you attend classes? Like, is it online or is it in person?
It's in person, so I'll be going to Vermont. It's in South Royalton, Vermont. So it's
I don't know where any of that is. To be
yeah.
honest.
Yeah, I'm like, where's Vermont?
I don't know
So
my state.
Vermont is like I think I may be wrong. It's a state right above New York.
Oh, okay.
So it's a very small state to begin with, but South Royalton is a very, very small rural town in the middle of nowhere. I did a tour through Google Maps. I saw the entire town. There's nothing there. You can probably like walk in and out of the town, and that's it.
Oh my gosh.
There's farms. So it's very different than New York and San Francisco. Very different than Kentucky. So I'm preparing myself for that.
But at least you'll be close to New York. Yay.
Yeah, it's like a 5-hour drive.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah. I don't even know where to go. But that's really cool. Okay. Wait, and then East Bay it's like in Hayward, right? Like US
Yes. Hayward, East Bay.
Okay,
East
got
Bay.
you. I forget where it is exactly, but I'm just like
Fremont and Oakland, Newark, around there.
Yeah, got you. Okay, so moving on, let's give some background into our little family situation. So I didn't mention this earlier, but we're all first generation college students. So we did it, right? We graduated last year. We haven't even graduated technically. I also feel like the reason why I need to go back to grad school is to experience the finale because that never happened. So right, like also because like Amber, I don't know how your graduation works, but ours is supposed to be in the fancy smancy church, right? I wanted to walk down the aisle because I'm probably not gonna get married. I don't know, that's gonna be my one chance. No, I'm just kidding. But it'd be really cool to like actually go back and experience that, but we'll see. I don't know. But yeah, do you guys want to mention a little bit about like your process for applying to college and kind of tying it into like your family aspect of like, were you able to get help from your family members? Because I wasn't. I wanted to know how was that all like? Amber, do you want to start with what your process was like? Give us the tea, baby.
Yeah, I can start. So I come from a single mother household, and I love my mom, but she has a bunch of medical issues that she's dealing with, and she's considered disabled. So even putting myself through my bachelor's, it was mainly myself working. At one point I was working 3 jobs during the summer, but then I cut it down to 2, and eventually I had to cut it down to 1 because I'm working in childcare right now, and it's very draining sometimes. So but for my master's right now, I'm thinking it's probably just going to be me putting myself through this degree again. So I've really been like checking my finances, and I really wish my school would tell me what classes I have to take so I can estimate the cost I need. So that way I'm better prepared, because what I got for financial aid was like I think it's called indirect subsidized loan. And I think I Googled it and it didn't sound like the good loan, because I know there's like a subsidized and unsubsidized, and one of them is supposed to be better, but it didn't sound like it was a good loan. So now I'm considering looking out financially for like maybe outside parties, like maybe a bank loan, or like a credit loan, like something like I'm just checking different APRs and interest rates just to make sure that I'm getting what I need. I mean, I was applying for scholarships, but I felt like that was taking up too much time for like a 1 in a million, like for a big chance that I probably won't get it. It's not that I don't believe in myself. It's more of just like, it's a 1 to however many people, maybe like 100 or 500, and so that's a very rare chance. So I want to find something, I guess, more realistic and stable.
Mm-hmm.
So but yeah.
Gotcha. Thank you. Thank you. How about you, Darla?
Um, yeah, first generation. So my mom, didn't do her bachelor. She uh finished her high school, I believe. But we're also a family from an immigrant family.
Mm-hmm.
So we were undocumented for a very long time. So obviously my mom did not have the resources to help me through or to get to college, just my undergrad.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of that was, like Amber said, a lot of just me figuring out my own finances and uh, just figuring out my own education. I did have my stepdad, so my stepdad, he's American from Kentucky. So he did do his bachelor's. He, had an American life. But I don't know. I always felt like uh, everything was up to me. I always, did reach out, and if I had any questions and really needed the help, I'll ask my parents. But we're also a low income family, so they do not have the resources to support me through everything that I would like to achieve.
Mm-hmm.
So this is actually something that we've talked about recently. They help me out with some of like the loan interests from undergrad.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but as you know, we're on that grace period, so that hasn't been happening.
Mm-hmm.
But law school is 100% on me. Um, I'll be, moving there, so that's rent on me. Figuring out a job during law school is probably going to be really hard. Law school is a full-time job, and I'll be having to do summers as well. So figuring out a job is going to be something. So I don't know. We'll see how we end up there. But yeah, uh, as a first generation, it always tends to be up to the first generation person.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and well, my mom is actually doing her bachelor's now, so I feel like I
Oh.
somehow inspired her. She's actually
Oh.
doing early childhood education as well. So yeah, she's in the childcare industry.
Yeah. Oh, awesome,
But
awesome.
I think I'm the one helping her.
Yeah. No, that's so cool. Like, thank you both for sharing. Um, so yeah, I think being a first generation college student, I feel like the term gets thrown around a lot too, and some people they don't understand. I guess they understand what it means, but sometimes you even I don't know. It was weird because so I have an older brother who went to college, right? Like bachelor's, he figured it out. He kind of told me we both went around the same time, anyways. But now with the master's program, it's like so new. It's like all new territory. Don't know anything. And I think my main reason for also applying to go back, and I don't think I mentioned this earlier, was like the networking side of things, especially for like business school. It's not how many degrees you have or like whatever, it's your experience and who you know. So that's one thing I really hate about my undergraduate experiences. Like I was trying to learn as much, maybe I didn't make enough connections, and that's one of the reasons my I'm trying to go back to this expensive program is to go make those connections now with the right people. So I think that was a huge thing. And then also like motivation, I don't know. I feel like I'm in a different situation from you guys though, because I am an immigrant. I'm from an immigrant family, so I kind of relate with Darla. And then I'm also first generation and low income and all that fun stuff. But I feel like my parents, because they both had their jobs even during the pandemic and everything, they're very secure financially, so they're here to support me 100%. So I need to stop complaining all the time because I'm like, oh my gosh, how am I gonna pay for this? My parents are like, we're gonna help you. Like, what are you talking about? But then just like hearing your guys' situations, I think it's I also do want to put out there that you two are probably like my two friends from college, slash high school college, that were, doing it themselves. Like I feel like everyone else had like support from their family financially, and you guys were like the MVPs and leading your own college life? Because I remember Darla got her apartment the second year, right? And you were like living on your own, and I was at USF trying to like figure out how to use my flexi still or whatever. And then Amber, even seeing you in the summertime working so many jobs and me being like, why don't you want to hang out? And not being able to understand, like, she's trying to put herself to college, you stupid bitch. So thank you both for being such like amazing women and trying to figure this out. And I need to appreciate what I have and use my resources, because honestly, like for me, it's like I don't want to waste my parents' money, and then I'm like, no, fuck it. Like, why do I want to get into debt? Also, I wanted to bring up, I don't like how the government isn't like canceling our student debt. That would have made things so much easier for going into grad school, right? Like, or master's or law school or whatever. Yeah, but anyways, we'll see. So I wanted to ask you guys, did you guys have to take tests to get into your program?
Yeah.
What tests did you take?
Yeah. So for law school, there's essentially 2 tests that you can take. So there's 2 options. So you can, the most popular and most accepted is the LSAT. The other is the GRE.
Yeah.
So you can take it for grad school as well. I took the LSAT. It's a painful journey. I took prep classes at USF while I was doing my undergrad. So I took it probably 2 semesters, so a whole year. And then I took a year off after my undergrad to just prepare for it. Also just, to work and save some money for what's coming next. So essentially I, prepared for 2 years, but it was the worst time of my life.
But you did it.
I guess, yeah, I made it.
And it worked, right?
Yeah. I'm glad I don't have to ever look at it again.
Yeah, because I was telling Amber this too. I was trying to look for a program that didn't require testing, because I'm like the stupidest test taker. Like, I don't even know how I passed the SATs with whatever score I got back in the day. And I hate tests, because I feel like if you got your bachelor's right, depending on what your grades were and everything and what field it was, I just feel like they shouldn't require you to take a test to go into another school. I get it for law school or maybe like to become a doctor, but like for business school, really? Like, what are you testing us on? Because we have to take the GMAT usually. And I was just looking at all the programs that never required it. And I feel like if you didn't want to take the test, then you would have to go through an online master's program. You couldn't be in person. And then I also found out if I wanted financial aid, like from, like I was trying to apply to Santa Clara University. If you don't take the test, it's fine, but then you don't get any scholarship or financial support through the school. And USF was the only one that was like, we don't care, just apply, we'll give you money and you don't have to take the test. And I was like, I'm sold. That's all I need from a school, to be honest. But Amber, what was your process like for that?
No, luckily no tests, but if anything, I just had to do 3 letters of recommendation and a personal statement. Which was really tough because I secured my 3 letters of recommendation. So the application opened October 2020. I got my letters of recommendation, excuse me, by December 2020. And then I started maybe working on a paragraph every week or every 2 weeks, like putting down information about myself and tying it back to like professional work and just experiences was really tough for me. Like, I probably didn't finish my personal statement until March. It took me about, I guess, like 3 months.
Is that when you submitted your application too?
Yes. Gotcha. Yes. I think I had a couple people look over it first, and then I was like, okay, this is it. I'm good. I got everything. Let's submit. So.
Yeah. That's a good point. Darla, did you have to do, what was your requirements, like recommendations?
Yeah. Well, it depends on the school as well. So I think for the majority, it was 3 letters of rec. I needed to create a law school resume, which is very different than just a resume you submit to a job. You pretty much have to go through your entire education and list all your achievements and everything that looks really nice on paper.
Yeah.
So those two things I needed: personal statement, the LSAT. Um, there's different applications for each school, and there's like surveys for each school. It was a lot.
Wait, how many schools did you guys apply to?
One.
You too?
I think I did like 7, 6, 5. I don't know. Between 5 and 7. Yeah.
You go.
Yeah, and I took the test like 3 times, so that was terrible, but
Jeez.
that's that. Yeah.
I need to stop complaining about grad school. We should have gone last, Amber. No, but that's cool. Wait, did you have to do an interview, Darla? Because I know Amber didn't have to, right?
No, I didn't.
Oh, nice. Well, I had to.
Yeah.
So mine was, I had to do about, I think it was like 3-4 essays. It was a bunch of questions about the school, which was easy because I already went there. I knew what they wanted. A bunch of questions about like, oh, I don't know, like data science and stuff like that. Like, what's your experience like? And then I had to do like a statement of purpose too. And then I had to have 2 letters of rec. I think I submitted 3 though, just in case. And then I had a whole interview process, and I was so stressed out because, I usually do better in an interview than I do in like the essays because I'm not a strong writer, and I had to have people look over it so much. And I kid you not, I spent 2 weeks on my application. Because every single day for like 12, 13 hours, I was writing it, editing it, and then sending it to someone, checking it, updating it, all that fun stuff. And I think both of you checked mine, so thank you. And I feel like when the interview happened, it was just, so one of my professors that was there, I took a class with him. So we were able to establish some sort of like, hey, you remember me? But then the other person that was there was Professor Amira. And he's like this, the head of the marketing department at USF. And he was always like this one person I was really scared of. So it was just really intimidating going into it. And I just remember them being like, so you got like a C in stats, and this is like a quantitative class, right? So what are you going to do to make it better? And I was like, I'll take a summer class that I'm still trying to figure out. So it was really stressful, but I'm so glad that they didn't require testing prior to that, because I feel like I'd still be here not applying to anything. So it was a stressful process. And I feel like there was, just to go off of the other questions, like stressful process and like what are some misconceptions. I think I just assumed a lot of schools required the testing, and I'm not sure if it was like COVID related that they kind of canceled some of those requirements, but I feel like right now is a good time to go to grad school. I know things are getting better in the world, but like it's still going to take some time to recover. So I feel like a grad program is like a good safety net of like, I'm doing something productive, or I'm not just wasting my time trying to figure out what I want to do when it's so uncertain in the world. So yeah, that was my whole stressingness. Oh, and then I kept getting mad at myself because I was like, I should have applied to this last year. I would have been done with it this year, and just trying to like blame myself for not being ready for the pandemic. Like, oh, it's been stressful. But were there any stress points for both of you during this process? Any misconceptions you had before applying or during your application process?
I know for me, my stress points was the lack of communication for help. So I would email the program coordinator, director, and she never responded. If anything, I remember emailing her back in July 2020, because on the website it says application opens October 20, and then it says on their like department application, it says application opens October 2021. So I wanted some clarification. Was it just a typo? Like when, like I was having trouble at first figuring out when does this program open. And so I sent the program director an email back in July, summertime 2020. I don't get a response until March 2021. And I'm like, okay, well, that's not helpful. I already applied. And so I've just been like emailing her because I'm just so eager. I want to know my classes. And plus, I mean, the school already allowed me to apply for classes. So I ended up just going above and emailing the whole program, like the department chair,
Mm-hmm.
the main guy, and he was like, "Oh, you should be getting information soon." So I'm wondering if like maybe because the application doesn't close until like June, so I'm wondering if they're waiting until the application like truly closes to
Mm-hmm.
start giving me some information. But right now, I just feel like I'm in the dark.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like,
Like I just want to say USF too, I feel like they accepted me and I didn't even know I was accepted.
mhm.
And I almost missed the deadline to accept my acceptance. So, because they said, "Oh, give us 2 weeks," and I was like, "Okay, got you." And I think I finished my interview in like the end of March. Like I applied in March and then finished it by the end of March. And then it was 2 weeks later. I just remember it being my birthday week and just wishing on my birthday cake, like, please just let me get into this so that I can have something to do. And I ended up just like feeling so intimidated. And then I just emailed them and being like, hey, so it's been like 3 weeks. Like, do you guys know if I got in? Like, how do I know? And they never responded. And then I emailed Professor O'Meara, like who's the head of the department. And then he was like, let me connect you with someone. And then he even mentioned, he was like, oh, I feel like your interview went really well. I see good things. And I was like, just say I got in if I got in. And it was so stressful. And then the lady finally contacted me and being like, yeah, you got in. Did you not get the email? And she was like, check your spam folder. And I did. And I never got a freaking email. So I had to like open up my little application portal and double check everything. But yeah, I've never heard anything back and I'm just so confused. Like I feel like that's a huge thing about grad school. I don't think it's as planned out as like undergrad is because I think they focus mostly on undergrad because I'm assuming there's more people applying. But I feel like grad school is kind of neglected.
I feel
At
like
least
that too, especially like when looking for scholarships. There was more scholarships for people. Not that's good. Everyone that's getting their bachelor's, but there's definitely a lot more support for that versus grad school. It's like you're on your
yeah.
own.
Bye. Yeah. How about you, Darla?
Stress points during my application. I think the main one was definitely just that LSAT. Um, I, like the first 2 semesters that I took those prep classes, it was, I was just kind of uh, getting used to the test, like it was like meeting the test, right? Just getting to know it. Um, but then, we graduated, and that summer, I think I was like, okay, I'm gonna study, but it's gonna be just me. It's gonna be me and this book and this test. Um, so I was like doing prep classes during the summer as well, but it I wasn't I don't think I was taking it as seriously. So that's something that, as Kiran mentioned, like I was like beating myself up about it. Like I should have started in that summer. I should have been like on it instead of just la di la da about it. So that was like my main thing. And then I was like planning on taking my first LSAT during August 2020, and turns out I missed that deadline. Then I planned for October. I took it in October, didn't do as well. So then that's when it finally clicked. Like I messed up here. Like I need to focus and actually do this.
Mhm.
Um, but then I ended up just going home. I moved back home. And as we all know, home has distractions. Parents want us to do things. We want to do things, be around family. So that was also a stress point because in my head, I was like, I need to focus. I need to just sit here, spend 4 or 5 hours during the week and just study. But that was not realistic in my household. Like I'll be in the middle of trying to take a prep test. My parents would come in, try to talk to me. I'm like, no, I'm in a test. Leave me alone. Then, they'll leave. then it's dinner time, they're calling me, I'm still in the middle of the prep test. Like, there's so many little obstacles that go unnoticed. So those little things were my stress points.
Yeah.
But it's over. And I don't want to talk about the LSAT ever again.
True. I know. I was just gonna go off of what you said about like your parents walking in. I feel like, so I told my parents, like, hey, I'm applying to this program. You know what though? Here's my tea. So now that I think about it, I don't know why I was blaming myself for so long. I was trying to prepare to take PhD program, right? Like go into a PhD program because you don't need a master's to go into one. I didn't know that. And then the people I was talking to, my professors that I, graduated from their classes, they ghosted me. I don't know what it is about professors, but they end up ghosting me for some reason. Maybe it's because I'm asking too many questions. But so because I kind of got ghosted / I didn't have support going into the PhD program right away, I was just like, all right, what can I do? And then I just applied to the master's. And I told my parents about it, everything. And I would literally wake up really late because I'm more productive at night. So I would be applying up until like 5 a.m. and then go to sleep for half of the day and then wake up again. And just for 2 weeks straight. And I just remember my dad being so mad at me, like, why aren't you waking up? Why aren't you doing this? Like all that. And my mom too. And then I had to like sit there and be like, I'm applying to grad school, y'all. Like, do you not understand what's going on here? Like, I think, especially because first generation, right? They don't know how long it takes to apply. Right. They just assume it's pretty easy, or like, why are you stressing out? It's just like school, you've been doing it. Like my dad literally I was telling him like, I'm really stressed about going into this upcoming year because what if I graduate and I still don't get a job? Like I still don't do whatever I'm trying to get out of this. And he was just like getting mad at me, like, why are you stressing about it? You've been going to school for like 17 years. And I'm like, but this is different. The stakes are higher, right? Like the higher you go, it's like the more you might fall. But I think it's just my negative mindset too. I gotta change that. But
no, definitely. Being home and having family around has little negatives, but I think for me having that emotional support really helped. I think that if I would have stayed in San Francisco and just been trapped in my room and studied all day, like I would have gone crazy. Like taking that test in October and not seeing the results that I wanted. At least I found out my results while I was home, so I had that, that emotional support from my family. But it was like like Kiran mentioned, like talking to your parents about it and them not really understanding like what those results mean in a way, like that was also stressful. Like it's not my parents' fault, like they don't know, they didn't go through that. But trying to explain to my mom like, oh, I got a 145 on my test and the top score is at 180, and like schools that I want to go to accept at 160, like there's a huge gap. Like I'm here stressing out trying to explain it to them. But I think it helped being home, even though they kept walking in on my test.
Yeah, no, definitely. Okay, so I'm going to move on to talk about what do we expect will happen in this upcoming year going into our grad programs? Because we're all starting in the fall, right?
Yes.
In August, I'm assuming August into September.
Yeah.
So let's predict the future, or like see what we want to happen, right? And then maybe we could even do like a follow-up episode like midway through and be like, so what's actually the tea, right? Because so for me, like I'm expecting to meet people and actually fill in the gaps of my education that I feel like I did not get while in the first program, right? So I'm hoping for that. And I'm also hoping to meet new people. I feel like every school that I go to, I make more friends. So I'm hoping I make a new friend. Like I met Darla in college, I met Amber in middle school. So it's like, like we're going to new friends. I love it. So that, and then I'm hoping to interact with like actual companies or like actual people who are working in the entertainment industry, because I feel like that's one whole thing that I was trying to figure out the whole time at USF. And it was a lot of getting involved at school but not externally in the community, and I think that's where I messed up, because I didn't like meet with people outside of the school, and then how am I going to get a job if I'm just like talking to the school the whole time? Like they're not going to hire me, I'm pretty sure. So it's like I should be talking to companies and stuff. So I'm hoping for that. I'm hoping to get a good degree. I'm hoping not to go broke, but we'll see. And I think for me, at least classes will be in person. So I'm trying to figure out if I want to live there or if I'm commuting. I'm 100% not sure. 90% thinking about commuting because it's only like Monday through Thursday, supposedly. But yeah, that's my whole little spiel. Amber, what about you? What are your expectations going into your grad program? And is it in person? Will you be moving there?
Um, Probably not moving there. I think my dorm years are over. Um,
Mm.
but I felt like with my bachelor's, I wasn't really as social as I could have been. I didn't really make the most out of it. But I feel like the benefits of having a cohort is I go through the same classes with the same people, so we get to build sort of like a acquaintanceship or friendship from these classes.
Mm-hmm.
I know for me, I'm planning a job change for college for when I go back. I want to do something more flexible. Right now I'm a lead teacher in an early child care classroom, and right now I'm not getting paid what I should be. I feel like when they promoted me, they didn't give me a raise. So because they said they stopped it during COVID, and I'm just like, what? I'm like, what? If anything, that's when I should really be needing the money.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, I'm looking for something more flexible. I actually have an interview later today with a possible new job. I am looking into being maybe a behavioral technician with children on the spectrum with autism. It's definitely something that's close to my heart. Um, so I'm very excited. I'm very excited because I can create my own schedule so that way I can go be able to take the days off I need, because I think for class it's supposed to be online, but I'm not sure if they're changing it because of everything opening back up.
Yeah.
Because when I talked to the lady, she said everything was supposed to be online, but I know like she also seemed like it online wasn't good because this class is better face to face. So I'm not
Mm-hmm.
sure if like with everything opening up that we will be in person.
Mm-hmm.
Um Shoot, I forgot where I was going with that.
Well, do you have like a personal goal that you have besides, like getting that degree?
I guess I just really want to learn. I want to apply what I've been doing
Mm-hmm.
to the knowledge, because I always really like when I have classes and I'm learning while I'm going through the whole process and like doing hands-on work.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, I'm just very eager to learn and to expand on my knowledge.
Nice, nice. How about you, Darla?
I don't know if I have expectations really going into this. I know, law school is gonna be hard. So I'm expecting to have very little free time. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but I think Vermont in itself is a very small, very very white town state.
Mm-hmm.
And then going into South Royalton, which is a smaller, even wider town, that's something that I need to prepare myself for. Like living in Kentucky, it's a very Republican, white, conservative state, but I've been isolated for my entire year that I've been here, so I haven't experienced much of that. So going deep diving into Vermont and into that culture is going to be a little shocking for me, especially being in the middle of nowhere. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but I guess law school expectations. I don't know. I think I just have to like prepare myself mentally, emotionally for it. I already got a letter from the school saying like these are some books that you should be reading during this summer so that you could prepare yourself educationally. So there's that. I didn't do as well on my LSATs as I hoped. So that I'm kind of expecting perhaps like a gap between me and like other students. Um, but like I got there, they got there. I'm sure like I have something to provide as well in that scenario. Um, so I don't know. I'm going to be living in an apartment. Well, it's not an apartment. It's a house, and then it's divided into like apartments.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm living on my own, so that's something new from undergrad. I've always had like 5, 6 roommates. Um, so that's something good that I'm looking forward to. But I'm also expecting to just again be trapped in that space on my own studying. So I don't know. We'll see. I'll update you.
Yeah.
We'll do an update podcast.
Yeah, for sure. And then do you have like a personal goal that you're hoping to achieve?
Oof. I don't know. I'm still thinking about the joint master's degree program. Um, so it's the environmental law policy law degree, and then restorative justice master's. Um, so I'm hoping to figure out a way to connect both of those. I know that you can do environmental justice, um, but I don't know where I want to go with that yet.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my goal, to figure out what I want.
Okay, perfect. Well, alrighty. Well, before we wrap up, do you guys have advice for anyone who's like maybe applying, is doubting themselves, or is thinking about applying to grad school or anything like that? Any advice to wrap up this episode?
Yeah. So I think for a long time I've been looking for advice. Um, so I've been trying to prepare for this podcast and like figure out what I would have told myself starting into this. I think the first thing would be to ask for the help, especially when you don't want it and you do need it. I think help for me would have put me beyond what I was expecting from myself. Just having someone be there and constantly push me to study and just prepare. I think the second piece of advice would be that, as women and as women of color, our experiences, especially like in the higher education institutions, they're vastly different from everyone else, and our white cohorts and the other people that we're going to encounter, especially because these spaces, higher education spaces, are not created for women of color, people of color. So I think one important thing to remember is that we got to these spaces, so we definitely deserve to be in the spaces as much as everyone else that is there. So that's something really important to just remember as our years go on in higher education.
How about you, Amber? I'm gonna let you go next.
I would just say look at all of your options, especially financially, because for me, finances are always the thing that that I need the most help with. I would say definitely check out all your resources. If you feel like applying to scholarships that require essays, go for it. If you feel like you need to take out a loan, do it. I mean, it's not something we want to have, but I mean, if it's something we got to do, then we got to do it. And I mean, I feel like that's like the reality I've been coming to is like, okay, education means this is this important to me, and this is what I need to do to be able to put myself through the learning that I want. So it's really, I feel like applying to graduate programs, it's really checking out your options financially, and making sure they suit you. So if you really don't want to take out that loan, don't take it out just because I told you to do it. Just do it because, I don't know, it's the options available to you. So,
Yeah. Noise. And then I was just gonna say a few things. If you're in school right now doing your bachelor's and you're planning to do a master's, make good connections with your professors and like people you work with on campus, because I think I did that like naturally pretty easily, but I think that's a huge thing for people when they're applying for grad school, is like going back and asking for letters of rec and making sure they remember you. um, so I would highly recommend you do that, because that's what I've heard from some people about a huge stress point. Is like, now maybe it's been 3 or 4 years since you've gone to, like your undergraduate, and maybe your teachers don't remember you. So it's like good to keep that relationship going. The other thing is, like, Darla mentioned, studying for those tests and stuff like that. Like, make sure you kind of plan it out so that, you can figure all that out. And if you don't want to take tests, there are schools out there that don't require the test. So you need to like research and make an Excel sheet. That's what I did. I was like, not required this, not required this. And I was trying to apply to those. Um, and then also, just to wrap up, like, trust yourself. Don't get mad at yourself for not doing something in the past. Like, especially with us too, we were kind of impacted by the pandemic, and maybe like our career goals changed or our paths changed. It was so out of our control. So don't beat yourself up about things. You'll work its way out somehow, right? You'll do it. You just got to believe in yourself and keep going, right? There's going to be a lot of self-doubt through this whole process. I gave up like almost a couple of times doing my application process, because I was like, I don't even think I'm going to get in. Why am I wasting my time? Plus, like, I had so many friends helping me. Shout out to Illyria. She was like, every day she sat with me just to push me through the application. So, and then like I had Darla and Amber and a bunch of people review all the time. So make sure to ask for help, because I clearly needed it, and I asked, and I like, look, it happened, right? So trust yourself, trust other people, ask for help, and get yourself into a program. But yeah. Okay. So we're gonna wrap up now, but I'm definitely looking forward to doing a part 2 of this, because I really want to know how your guys' like first month, or like first, maybe like middle of the semester goes. Um, because our programs are at a different length, right? So maybe it'd be cool to check in with Darla and see if she's gonna do that dual master's program. And then Amber, like, did you end up moving to East Bay for some reason? Like classes, right? So yeah, we'll stay in touch. But anything else you guys want to say before we wrap up? Okay, cool. Well, anyways, thank you everyone for listening. Thank you both for being on the episode. And until next time, bye bye.